Welcome back, everybody. Hey, Jess, Judith, Levy. It's been a while since we recorded. We've met a few times, but it's been since the first part of December since we recorded. A couple changes. We've changed the name, a little bit more of a focus on human elements from leadership and technology integration. And for this episode, coming back for the first time in a month plus, we decided to bring in some guests as well. So we've invited my youngest daughter, Jessica, and Judith's daughter, Nori, to join us and kind of talk a little bit about what's going on with technology in their lives and what's top of mind for them, how things are working out, leveraging AI or just anything that comes to top of mind. So with that, we'll go ahead and let both of you introduce yourself. Jess, I know you want to introduce yourself. I'll get you going first.
Yes, overly excited probably. But yeah, so I'm a dental hygienist, and we go to an annual convention every year. And I've been doing this for about 6 years now, and I've noticed that at the dental conventions, they've been more AI classes there, whereas before there really hasn't been any. The past couple of years, especially, there's been dedicated AI classes. And so I was just going to add that I sat in on one, and there's one that integrates with your dental software and takes phone calls for you so that you don't need to necessarily have somebody at the front desk answering phone calls for people to make appointments. And so I know that our office is looking into getting that sort of AI because we're shorthanded at the front desk right now. So instead of hiring somebody, we're exploring the idea of going ahead and buying this AI technology that takes the phone calls. And it's really cool. You actually can't even tell it's not a real person. It'll ask all the questions, it'll put the notes in automatically and put them into the system. And I feel like, again, coming from a patient's perspective, it's not like your typical robotic stuff or anything. It's like a real voice. They ask the prompting questions, and then it puts in all the details. So I thought that was really, really cool.
That's cool. That opens up
It is.
tremendous amount of opportunity to discuss what we've experienced on the IT side. Nori, how about you?
I'm a student right now with a major in liberal arts, and mainly I focus on acting and cinema and theater side. I also edit a bunch of videos, so like I'm kind of like into IT in a way. Um, for school, I don't really use AI. My father is like really big on using it, and he's like developing AI chatbots and like always just like talking about AI and what he's discovered and everything. And he told me about an AI site, I guess that's for like specifically for research, which I feel like would be really like useful in like many different fields because I don't know, he just praises it a lot and he uses it for research a lot, and he's always saying that it's like really amazing.
Have you used it? Do you use it when you write papers or anything? Have you used anything that I know that's a big thing against using AI to write, but do you use anything to expand on thought or like I used to use Grammarly a lot just to clean up my writing. Do you are you allowed to use anything?
Um, for my history class last semester, we had to use Grammarly actually, and it was turned on for me the whole semester, and I actually gotten like um accused of using like AI because of it, while I didn't use anything else except for Grammarly, but at the same time, I didn't even like click on its suggestions because it just rewrites your whole paper, right? But I still got into a bit of an issue because of that for my English paper, which I didn't use anything else. So I would rather not use any AI in my papers because one, that's not the whole point of school. Two, it's just not authentic.
She's the type of person who loves to learn by herself and do her own things, and produce whatever you need to produce by doing the research is online, for example, where you need to put the references in there, right, Nori, and then You find it for yourself as opposed to using the AI. Or what she was mentioning in school, that was where she was accused, that was a real dilemma. And then she had to go in and then just prove that no, she didn't do anything as such, not abusing AI. So had to bring in all her papers from previous schools, from Hungary as well, from high school, just to prove that yeah, she has the knowledge basically and the necessary IQ to make it happen without utilizing AI.
Yeah, plus I always love to write. Like even in high school I was writing like really long papers for all the essays. I don't think I need AI to write all that when I can just write it myself.
Yeah, I've no, I don't have firsthand experience with it, but I have seen articles where you've got schools using AI technology from the professor side, from the teacher teaching element, and asking students to go into I won't name a tool, but going into a resource and write a document, create a paper, and the professor can actually see all the steps you've taken to create that paper, whether it be you've written it typing or you've copied and pasted, and that's how they evaluate, is AI the source of this paper or is the person actually writing it? It's kind of like we've had this discussion previously, Judah will remember. We talked about the emergence of a calculator. When did it become
Yeah.
acceptable to use a calculator in class? These are tools that should be used and should allow for advancement of ideas, but you got to find a way, because it's a learning environment, you got to find a way to measure, is the student actually in possession of skills necessary to create whatever they're working on? So it's pretty interesting. Do you have any experiences in using online software to create something in an AI approved scenario for school?
I did a government class and we had discussions for that, and we were given a topic that we had to think about and answer. And also, we also had to plug the prompt into AI to see what it gives us, and we had to compare the two, like our answers and the AI's answers, and that's what we had to do for the discussion questions. And it was really strange because I just don't see the point in like teachers enforcing AI on you basically, or like encouraging you to use it, because I don't think that's like really helping your studies in a long like term.
I can see that point. I'd agree with you. And Jessica, I think you've shared with me,
Yeah.
there are companies that they're trying to sell solutions that offload some of the work a hygienist or dentist would do, and that takes away some of that responsibility for keeping the skills, maintaining those skills to be proficient.
Yeah, for me, it's a little bit different. Well, when I was in school, I'll say I actually kind of wish I had AI to help me with some of my papers. They weren't really along the creativity side of it. It's more like research papers. So it would have been awesome to be able to have AI help me, because you'd have to read a research paper, they're so boring. They're probably 10 pages long, but you're trying to, get through these papers, and it would have been awesome to actually have AI help me extract certain points from that. So there are areas where I think it actually would have helped me in my studies, on more of when I'm doing my own research and things, but helping me kind of extract certain points instead of having to read through this whole thing. And I had a very strict teacher too, that it would have been great to have something. Yeah. But AI, the ChatGPT wasn't around back then. And so, but we did have Grammarly.
Yeah, you did. You had a couple writing tools. I remember you got in trouble you didn't get in trouble for using the tool. You got, your grade was downgraded and you had used the tool. Mm-hmm. So she's in dental hygiene and she's got a professor that's basically a English major. And she's picking apart every bit of the sentence structure and just like, but I actually used an approved tool to help me write and correct the grammar in this, and I'm getting docked points for it.
Yep, I did use the Grammarly, and that's what she wanted us to use as well. And then she would go in and she would contradict and be like, "No, this isn't right." I'm like, "Well, that's the thing that
that's
Grammarly
what Grammarly told me to make this change, and I did."
So,
Yeah.
But it goes back to what we talked about, Troy, as well, that all these tools are only as good as what they were told to do and how.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And
So
Jessica and I
Exactly.
had this conversation this morning. I told her AI doesn't exist from my point of view. AI doesn't exist yet. Everything you're getting, it's generative AI. What we're talking about would just be predicting the next word. You know, it's machine learning, and algorithms just basically know pre-existing data. Everything you can pull up through generative AI is already on the internet. You could have got it without generative AI. It's just it's able to pull it together faster and more complete. Whether it's accurate or not is another story. It's
that's a different story, obviously.
yeah,
Yeah. So not by accident that
no,
I think I mentioned you that in at work every now and then I'm using Copilot as well.
yeah,
We have this enterprise module, so it's really good. That is, and it's internal, so it's not out on the wide web basically. So you can do whatever you want because it's gonna stay internal to the company, which is really good. But at the same time, it always, whatever it does, even if it's just drafting an email with the right tone and things like that, at the end, it always says that, hey, you need to read it and make sure, right, that it is what you want because AI can make some mistakes. So again, like we talked about it, Troy, if somebody doesn't go back and doesn't check it, if it really that's what you want to say and how you want to say it, it can go south really fast.
yeah.
So and I'm rereading it multiple times and then changing some verbiage in there just to make it sound like me, as if I would be saying it, because it can use words that I would never use in my life.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there are gaps in what it's there's no, that's why I mean when I say it's really not AI yet. The greatest example I can give you in a short, quick turnaround. There's a meme or a short reel or something somewhere I saw. A guy summarizes essentially by saying, I'm asking ChatGPT to help me get to the nearest car wash to wash his car, obviously, but he doesn't say the purpose of what he's going there for. It's a short distance, and says, how fast can I get there? Well, you can get there in 5 minutes or less walking. Okay, so I want to go to the car wash. How fast can I get there, and what should I look for in what they can do? What will the car wash do for me? Well, it'll give you a clean wash car and everything. He goes, okay, so you want me to walk yes, it's close enough you can walk. Okay, so I'm going to walk to the car wash to wash my car. It can't close that gap because it's not really thinking, it's predicting. And so he phrased his prompt in a way that he left a gap for it to not understand. You actually have to take the car
Yeah,
to the car wash
context.
to wash it. It was pretty revealing, but that's kind of where we are, and that's why I kind of was just curious of how both in a dentistry working environment at school, how these tools are received and how they're used. And Levy, I don't know if we've got your audio.
Oh,
We don't have your video. Can you
can you
hear
hear
us?
me?
Can we hear you?
No? Oh, okay. Hold on.
Levy's given us a couple of great examples as well. We're having a technical challenge staying connected to the Riverside server, and I've noticed Jessica's video quality dropped off significantly too, and she's sitting right upstairs above me next to the Wi-Fi router. So go figure. I don't know what's going on. I have to reach out to Riverside and see if we can figure it out. But the whole thing, it's pretty interesting stuff. Each of these experiences are unique and yet not. I think a lot of people are seeing or experiencing the same thing. And Jude, I love your example about Copilot and keeping a grounded language model, an LLM in-house. It seems to be the direction companies want to go, because putting all your stuff out on publicly accessible platforms is kind of a
Yeah, I
risk,
mean
a serious risk.
yeah. At some point, I asked our innovation team if I can use, because I didn't know back then, but I asked them if I can use some sort of automation, because not everybody had Copilot at the company as well, or not to that degree that we have now, the enterprise one. And I was asking the guy, how can I do some searches with ChatGPT or anything else that, I'm not exposing internal IP, basically.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, you can do that. You can use Copilot. That's when it registered to me that, yeah, the Copilot we have at company level, that's basically private, right? Yeah. But then he said something as well, that you can spin up AWS and then use automation there or AI there the way you want it. And then it's going to be private again. but I wanted to have something not my own. I wanted to have something where it's still reaching out to a certain degree to everywhere and collecting the information and helping me, like I said, just write an email or rewrite a paragraph. I know what I want to say, I just don't know how to put it in normal words. Let's put it that way in English. Or flow the way it should flow, right? The whole email, because there are some nasty ones that I need to send out every now and then. I just want to make sure that nobody's going to find a hole in there.
Yeah, and I think
So
that's
that is good.
a big benefit. Hey, Levy, that's a big benefit is having a tool because everybody gets writer's block. And I remember writing papers, especially English papers, when I was in college, going, I don't even know where to start. You know, you have to
Yeah.
bounce stuff off the wall. Where with some of these tools, you can kickstart it and get going. I do like to create my own content. I don't go out and create generative AI objects, but I do use it to kind of polish what I've created. It does a pretty
Yeah,
good job.
that's what I'm doing as well. Draft the email the way I want it,
Yeah.
copy it, put it in Copilot. Now make this out of this the way I want to see it. Make it more professional, whatever the keyword is for that, and then it's just doing it. And then telling me where it was looking for information, how
May
to
I
phrase things
interject?
as well.
Yeah, may
So
I
that's really
interject
good.
because
Yeah, those are
while I'm
really good
still
features.
here,
What are your thoughts,
because
Levy?
I wanted to ask Nori, how many well, students, or not students, but well, how many well, students really to a teacher in these classes? Because what I was thinking, where I wanted to coming from this time, because it just popped my mind that the education has to adapt to this new tool, because there's no other way around it. It's not going to go away. People are not going to just stop using it. Or I know in your case it's a different story, but most of the times when you are looking for something, you're researching, you eventually will run into some AI generated data that will end up in your paper. Maybe you can reference it or anything, but at the end, it's probably going to affect the AI levels of your work. And I was just thinking that maybe it's the only way to get out of that is if the education system is changing, and there will be more interaction, like human interaction between the teacher and the students, so the teachers would know firsthand what is the student capable of, like in real life, and not trying to grade them by only what work they submit, but take into consideration that, okay, this is a very bright person, and she is capable of what is in the paper, proving points and following the steps and getting to a conclusion. But maybe there's another student who's not that bright, and submitting a paper which passes the AI test, and not really passing the sheet test when it comes to the personality or the personal or the face-to-face conversation. So that's what I'm thinking, and that's a whole another can of worms, right? Because if someone is introvert, as I recall, you also had some kind of problems with connecting to strangers, or authority persons and stuff like that, or these kind of things, especially as a teenager. So it would be
Good thing
very
it cut
hard
him
We
to
off.
lost
find
him
out what the
at the right
person is
time.
capable of if you
Feel
cannot
free to
really
answer,
grade
Nori.
their
You kind of got
work,
the gist for what he's
because it
asking.
can be
Well,
AI,
this
but
is
they are not
the
really
like
opening up as a person.
downside of,
So
I
yeah,
feel
I
like,
just wanted to ask you
American
about that,
education is
if
that
you can
you, like,
elaborate.
in college, most of the times I had a teacher for only a semester, and they don't know my previous works, they don't know how I write. So, like, how will they know that I am indeed capable of writing such papers? And this is what I liked in the Hungarian education system, that in high school you have the same teacher for 4 years, so that they get to know the way you write and the way you think. And so they know that, like, they know your writing style, they know how you think. But like here they don't. And I feel like this was also an issue with my English paper that I just talked about, that my professor did not know how I write. I don't really speak in class because, as Levi said, I am an introvert. And it's just like, I don't think it really like benefits us that like professors don't really know our way of writing and thinking.
Or just the personality itself.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't typically
And the
do the
overall
cohorts.
knowledge.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember being in especially high school was the worst because you would have, when I was in high school, you had 7 classes a day. Actually, they switched to 8. But you would go through an hour each class and just rotate teacher to teacher to teacher. And it
Mhm.
was all focused on a specific subject, but building a good long-term understanding. Some of these courses were only half a year. So you got a half year with one teacher, and they might have known a little bit about you, but you really didn't know each other that well. I can see that.
Yeah, a lot of times too. I had at some points 40 kids in a class too, so it's hard
That's
for you to get
Utah.
one-on-one,
Welcome to Utah for
one-on-one
that
with a
one.
teacher. Is that? Yeah, I mean, the classes are really big too. I don't know for you, Nori, if you have really big classes, but it's like, how are you supposed to even get one-on-one time with the teacher when there's 40 other kids, or
Yeah, that was a shock for me.
in
My
the
first
class?
year of college at the University of Utah, you'd sit in stadium seating, an auditorium.
Mm-hmm.
There'd be 300 students in the auditorium, one professor.
We had something similar as well when I was in college, but again, that was in Hungary, right? It's the same system that Nori is talking about, even for college, that you're together with the same set of people, with the same teachers that are taking you through the whole 4 years of study, because the topics are building up on each other, and it's 1 or 2 teachers per topic or per subject. But we had those big auditoriums as well, where we had then the entire semester and class of everybody who was in that same grade had to go to the same class basically, and there was like you said, it the 300 students. They were making notes who was attending and who wasn't attending, but I'm like, how did you do that when there are 300 people and there is only one teacher? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But the classes for us, for example, they were small, except for that 1 or 2 examples. They were very small classes, like maximum 20 people in college. But in high school, it was, I think the ratio was something like 35 per one class. I think, Nora, you had way smaller classes in high school.
Yeah, my high
That was a
school
different system. It was a private one.
my high school one, well, my high school class was around 21 people, which I think is nice. But like there's like way bigger classes, for example, in Budapest, like where like many people go to the same high school. My high school was kind of small, so that was really good. Here I have around, maybe the biggest class I had was around 30 people. Um, but even then, by the time the teacher would get to know you, it's already the end of the semester and it's already too
Mm-hmm.
late. Like they don't, I feel like they don't really have time to get to know you, except when you actually make or like put the effort into talking to the teacher one on one outside of school, or well, in office hours rather, because otherwise they
Yeah,
don't
unless
really
you take the
have time.
initiative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all excellent points. Good stuff. So we were hitting about the 24-minute mark. We try to keep it around 25 minutes. Just really quick pivot. Anything exciting either of you want to bring up? I know, Jessica, what's going through your mind right now. It's not the Daytona 500 today, but it's related.
Well, actually, I was thinking about Daytona. The Daytona 500 is today, but yeah, Formula One will be starting up soon, so that's exciting.
And talking about technology, we're looking at driver feedback for the technology. That 2026 is introducing a lot of stuff that's taking away from the driving experience. So you've got the older drivers been around for a while telling you, I don't like this. And the younger drivers will say, well, just embrace it and go with it. It's like you look at their steering wheel and there's so many buttons, and I don't even know how you drive. But how do you get the slice of time to actually drive when you got all this stuff going on in front of you?
It's like
Very interesting.
it's like a
It's the
video
same
game
thing.
controller.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But it's the same thing with. I know we don't have time, but I would love to go into it. But it's the same thing with aviation as well, and planes, right? How they improved and evolved, and how much automation is in there, and what the pilots need to learn, so on and so forth. So that could be one of the other topics in future.
It could be. Nori, how about anything going on? That I think you went to a concert recently. I don't know if there was something you wanted to share about that, or
I mean, it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I've been wanting to go to this group's concert for a long time, but they never like went to Hungary or anywhere close. So it was really nice to finally go and see them, even though I was like in the very back of like a huge arena. But next time I'm planning to sit like much closer so I can actually like see and like the stuff that's going on.
no, that's
They
always
had
that's
a
always cool.
they had a stage right in the middle, right? Nora, you
Oh,
said that
okay.
of the stadium.
It's
So
a 360-degree stage, which is like one of like they were one of the first ones to do that, and it was a great idea if you set low enough because I sat like really high, and they had like a screen where they had like the camera work was insanely good. However, one thing is that the screen kind of like blacked out one part of the stage. The other thing is that in front of the screen they had lights, and those lights covered up most of the screen. So I couldn't see the screen that well either.
it wasn't. It wasn't thought through properly. That it would be good from every angle. So probably
Yeah.
it's what Nuri said. If you set a bit lower, then you could have seen everything, and it would have been an amazing experience, even if you just see the displays up there, right? But lesson learned for next time.
Still a cool experience. That's awesome. Well, what I typically do when we end is I just click stop for the recording, but we don't all hang up. So don't hang up. We'll end the recording and say goodbye here, but don't hang up.
All right. Thank you very
See
much
ya.
for being here with us, ladies.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.